What's up, everybody? We are back with another review. We are talking today about Space Marines 2 again. We already talked about the campaign, but we are mostly multiplayers here. So we are going to talk about the multiplayer as well. If you didn't see my review on the campaign, that's linked down below. And if you want to watch my playthrough on the campaign on my other channel, my single player channel, as well as my playlist that takes you right to the gameplay is online as well. A lot of similar thoughts campaign-wise to the actual game design, like the graphics are good, the combat's nice, blah, blah, blah. But obviously it is its own unique mode with its own unique features, with its own unique capabilities, with its own unique feel. I thought I was going to be a lot more negative in this review, but like so many games, the more you level up, the more you get the better stuff, the better the game feels. Do I absolutely love this game? On the multiplayer side, no. Do I really like it? Sure. It's not as good as the campaign in my mind. I think the campaign alone is worth $60. If there was a standalone multiplayer game, now I haven't touched the operations mode either, but if it was just a standalone multiplayer game, I would pay like $30 for this, but definitely not 60. Whereas the campaign, for just the campaign that's only like 7 to 8 hours, I would probably pay $50-$60 for that and be happy with that. So as usual, we're going to go through our cons, our pros, our so-sos. The con list is very long, but it doesn't affect the rating that I give this game as much as the pros or even the so-sos in a positive way. I would definitely recommend this game. Of course, we'll give our rating at the end. So just looking at my cons list, starting off with some UI features and stuff. You have loadouts in this game, which is nice. And then you have six classes? It might be 7. It's 5 to 7 classes. I don't know how many different classes you have. And each one has a loadout. Each one has 3 loadouts that you can make in the armory hall before matches, but you can't edit them in the match. You can't edit them in the pregame. And I think you should be able to. Another UI thing is there's no mini map in the top left corner, and you can't pull up a big map. These maps aren't very big, so they don't take long to learn, but it's always nice to have a mini map or some kind of bigger map to guide you. Speaking of maps, there is only 3 maps, which is unfortunate. The maps themselves are okay. I wasn't super duper happy with the maps. There's one, I think it's Bastion, that like the middle lower section just completely fogs out and you can't see through it. Not really a fan of that. So there's not a lot of maps, and while 2 of them I think are really good, one is so-so. Am I missing a map? There might be 3 that are good. Either way, there's only like 3 or 4 maps, and Bastion is not a good one. The other ones are pretty good, but they're not awesome. There's no like standout map that I think both looks really good and plays really good. They either have one or the other, or they're just outright bad. Another thing is that, speaking of limits in this game, there's only 3 modes. There's a team deathmatch mode called Annihilation. I'm not going to remember the other 2 modes' names, but there's a domination mode where you got to get the 3 different points and hold them. And then there's a hard point mode, like so many multiplayer games have nowadays. But that's the only 3 modes. There's no single life modes. There's no other objective modes. There's nothing like a kill confirmed. There's no other modes. There's the 3, and those are like the core multiplayer arena shooter modes these days. But having only 3 modes on now the $60 is for the other both campaign operations, but on a $60 game when so many multiplayer games are free to play, even just the multiplayer aspect is kind of disappointing that they could only do 3 modes. So then we also have, speaking of the modes, the quick play diversity. When you're just use quick play instead of selecting one of the specific modes, instead of being like Call of Duty, where as much as I don't want the lobby to disband, and the lobbies don't disband, which I don't have in my pros on here, but lobbies don't disband. So if you're a fan of that is in this game, you get stuck playing the same mode over and over and over again. And it's like, I didn't select a specific mode. I selected quick play to get all the modes. And you just get stuck in the same mode over and over again. So it'd be nice to either have the modes be fully at random, or be able to map and mode vote. That would be something that would be nice that would fix that. Let's see. Other game aspects in here is... Sorry, I normally go in order. Oh, there's no kill cams. And kill cams, this is not a huge con. Not every game needs kill cams. But I like it, especially because another thing in this game that bothers me is TTK, which we'll talk about. But since we don't have single life modes and people are free to die, respawn, or to continue moving around, it would be nice just to have kill cams, see how I died, because sometimes I'm like, what? And I'm like getting sniped in the back or something like that. I need to start going through actual order. I talked about all of that, talked about that. Oh, another thing is the shock grenades that are also flashbangs are wildly overpowered and way too strong. If you're right next to it when it blows up, it can flashbang you, and the flashbang, I swear, is like a full second and a half. And then the shock grenade, not only while you're in this electric field it creates, stuns you, it also takes damage, and they're way too strong, way too OP. They are good for like locking down an area, a lane, whatever, for a couple seconds, but they are so strong, and they definitely need a nerf. Another thing is the the rotational aim assist in this game is nuts. It is way too strong. If you went back on one of my VODs, like when I first started playing this game, the first time I had a heavy class is when I noticed it, because I was strafing in the fight, and like I literally, like, you think Call of Duty's is bad with not having to move your right stick? Literally, my right stick was useless in that fight. Another negative I have is bloom. If you don't know what bloom is, it's as you shoot your gun, the spread of your bullets instead of going where you aim. Now they do make it obvious with the reticle, so you can shoot in intervals to avoid that some, and it's really only a matter over long range with automatic weapons, but I'm not a fan of bloom in any game. Another thing is the pregame takes way too long. When you get into games, and that's one of the things that I actually just skipped over while I was trying to go through my list, you have to select your class. There's tactical, there's assault, there's vanguard, there's one with a B that I forget how to pronounce it, there's heavy, and there's sniper. And every team can only have 2 of each. Now, I know that's a balancing thing, but there is no ranked mode, and I don't think there should be class limitations in non-ranked. Like if you play Overwatch, and you go to a ranked mode, you have to have somebody from each class, and you're limited to the amount of people each class. But this is non-ranked. I don't think it should be a thing in non-ranked. I'd be fine if they added it in ranked. But in that pre-game screen where you're selecting your class, selecting your load, all that, it's like 30 plus seconds. It already takes long to load into a game. And then you got to wait another 30 seconds when people know what class of soldier they want to be, or marine, and then they know what class they want to use with that. There's not a whole lot of setting, and you can change it in game. And with class limitations, it makes it go even quicker. I don't like how long the pregame takes. Another thing I have is you can't change which shoulder your POV's over, and that's good so people can't cheese the third person peeking around corners. But it's not great because, like, your teammate could come up behind you because it's third person. Sorry, my left arm's petting my cat. Because it's third person, you can't, or you get blocked by your teammates sometimes that are behind you, and that's super frustrating, and that could be fixed by being able to just hit something to change your shoulder POV. And then finally, gun balance. One of the things that made me think I was going to go into this review really negative is leveling up is a little slow, which I don't have a problem with, so I don't have that on my list anywhere. But to get decent guns, you have to level up. Like, I didn't start having fun on this game really that much until I got to level 6. And I got the heavy bolt rifle for my, whatever the first class is. That assault or tactical? Whatever the first class is. And then that was a TTK that was competitive, and I was able to actually fight with. Sorry, she's chewing my controller stuff. But so the gun balance was kind of bad. So the cons, just to run through them really quick. Oh, the one I didn't talk about was TTK. TTK, when you have 3 or 4 armor, is not bad, but the TTK for the 2 armor classes is horrendously fast, and even sometimes the 3 armor is a little too fast. If everybody's TTK was somewhere around the 3 to 4 armor range, or if you bumped up that 2 armor range to like 2.5, I think the TTK would be way better in this game. So my cons are the TTK, can't edit loadouts while you're in game, no minimap or big map to look at, no kill cams, the lack of maps, the class limitations, the limited modes, the quick play mode diversity where you get stuck in that mode over and over again. The maps are not great. The shock grenades that are also flash bangs are terrible. The aim assist, especially rotational, is too strong. The bloom is unfortunate. The pregame is too long. You can't change your shoulder POV, and your gun balance. She's being a terror right now. And your gun balance, and the gun balance is so-so. Now, that sounds like, wow, this game is terrible. That's a long con list. And the so-sos and the pros are way shorter, but the gameplay itself is really fun. So you have my so-sos. Footsteps, the reason it's on so-so is the footstep audio is excellent in this game. You think, oh, that makes it a pro. But so is your teammate footstep audio, and it sounds identical, so it's hard to know. And there's a couple times where I was playing where I, like, quick turnaround. Oh, it's just my teammate coming up behind me. And the footstep audio, well, it's great. If you do not know exactly where all of your teammates are, which a mini-map would help with greatly, you might be confused. And you might turn around to look at your teammate, and when you turn around, you get shot by somebody else who peeks at that time. Another thing that's so-so is movement. I like the roll that you can do, like the dodge roll. I like that there is sprint. One con I forgot to put on, there's no auto sprint, but if you watch my reviews, you know that's a big bugaboo of mine that I always talk about. But the movement, and then you have movement techniques, like one class has a jump pack, one class has a grapple, but the overall movement speed is really slow in this game, and I wish it was just a tiny bit faster. So while I like a lot of things about the movement, it's not quite fast enough. Another so-so is the battle barge. The battle barge is like that main pre-lobby area where you can change the mode to campaign, operations, or multiplayer, where you can customize your loadouts and your Marines and their look. And all of that is great, but it makes going in and out of games way slower because you have to connect to the battle barge, which nobody else is on with you, so I don't know why you have to connect to it like it's a lobby that you're with people in, like in Call of Duty World War II. And it takes a while to connect to it, and you have to do it after every game, and it just takes a long time. And so while the battle barge is really cool, it adds a lot of time of non-playing to your playtime, unfortunately. So the so-sos were the footsteps, the movement, the battle barge. So moving on to the pros, the health system in this game and campaign, when you have the armor and then you have the red bar of your health, and as that red bar goes down, a white bar follows, and then once wherever that white bar goes, if you don't do damage in time to get it back up to that bar, it shrinks. That is not in multiplayer, thankfully. Your health just fully regens, your armor just fully regens, and it's super nice. Classes in this game, I do like the classes. They all play very different. They all have very different abilities. They're not... The most similar are having a jump pack and a grapple, and those are nothing alike, especially because the grapple can be used in an attack, which I forgot to put on the cons. The grapple stun is way too strong. When you use your grapple to latch onto somebody, it stuns them super hard, and you pretty much lose if it's a 1v1 every time if you're not the grappler. And then graphics, we talked about a lot in our single player review. The graphics are just beautiful in this game. Unfortunately, you do have a CPU bottleneck. I don't know why it's bottlenecked at the CPU. So if you're looking for high frames, you have to have a top tier CPU on PC, unfortunately. But the graphics are gorgeous. The maps look good. The Marines look good. The guns look good. Everything looks great in this game. Another pro is the gunplay. The guns don't have a whole lot of recoil. And because it's not first person, no visual recoil. Every gun feels unique, in a way. Their bloom's different, their recoil's different, whatever. All of the guns feel unique, and that's really nice. And I really like how the guns play, except for the bloom. But the bloom's not enough of a factor for me to say, oh, the gunplay is bad in this game. I actually really like it. And then finally is the customization. There is so much customization. Each class of Marines that you have has its own customization. There's a million different colors, different emblems, different armors, armor accessories. You can have a helmet on, you can have a helmet off, and I really like that because I like the unique feeling of having all these different looking Marines on your team or being able to really make it your own. Overall, I know there was a lot of cons compared to the pros and so-sos. We're not even going to go over the whole list again. The pros were health, the different classes, the graphics, the gunplay, and the customization. Overall, when you take the goods of the movement, the goods of the footstep audio, the great gunplay, the cool customization, the health system, and the regen's not too slow, honestly. The different classes, all of that combines to a great game experience. I gave the campaign, if I remember, like a high 8.5 to a low 9. The multiplayer sticks in at about a 7.5. To me, I could see it going down to a 7. I could see it going up to an 8. So I'm going to stick right dead middle on an even 7.5. Definitely something worth checking out if you're already going to check out the campaign, or if $60, I think it's only 60, doesn't feel like a lot to you, or you're a big Warhammer fan. It's definitely a game I would recommend playing if you're looking for something new and you don't mind it not being free to play. But if you do check out the multiplayer and you like single player games at all, go play the single player. It'll definitely make the $60 worth it. Try Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines 2 out for yourself. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll see you in the next review. Have a good one. Bye.